Welcome back, YouTubers. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm Jeff Ferguson, and this is episode 7. Thank you once again for joining us. If you haven't ever tuned into our channel before, be sure to check out the earlier episodes, check out the intro, be sure to check out the Facebook page, check out our Twitter account, and be sure to like and subscribe, follow us online. If you'd like to be updated and want to know what's going on YouTube, if you click down in the right hand corner of your screen, click the red subscribe button and then click the little bell that pops up after that, and that'll notify you every time we have a video that comes up. Right now we're doing about 1 to 2 videos a week. We're going to be covering stuff all throughout the summer. We got powwows coming up down in Lapwai. We got stuff coming up at the in Kalispel, Montana. We still got us coming up, July-Amsh's coming up, Gathering at the Falls. We got coming out Labor Day powwow out Walpanet. I think we might try it to make it out to Nispelum. All sorts of stuff going on this summer, and we've got relay races coming up in Walla Walla. We got the salmon ceremony and the paddle up to Kettle. They're dropping in a Grand Coulee this year, right down below the dam there, and so that should be pretty exciting. So be sure to follow us. Be sure to check it out. Once again, thank you for joining us. We can't do it without you. We're here to cover the news and events for 11 tribes of the Inland Northwest and the native communities, both urban and rural, within them. So let's get to it. We're going to make this a quick one. We don't have a whole lot to cover this week. You know, there were some great things happened over Memorial Day weekend. There's a couple stories I want to cover very briefly, but I do want to talk about some of the upcoming events. We've got highlights from the ATNI convention at Northern Quest Casino from the youth committee chair, Johnny Buck of the Yakama tribe, and he's got some commentary on the resolution that the ATNI Native Youth passed back when they were at Northern Quest Casino here in Spokane. We've also got highlights from the Arrow Lakes powwow out on the Colville Res, out past Inchelium there. We caught up with Dan Nanamkin, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about the camp that he had going out there on the Colville Res and what he's got coming up. We also caught up with the Arrow Lakes powwow MC and organizer, Dave Madera, and he's going to be talking to us about some of the projects that he's been working on, and tell us a little bit about what the Arrow Lakes powwow is all about and how it got going and how things are going out there this year. We've also got some highlights of some of the dancers out there. We also have some footage from an amazing story this week, that is something that went viral. It went far and wide, not only in Indian country, nationwide, but also globally, and that's Muckleshoot tribal school athlete Rosalie Fish. She competed out at Eastern Washington University in the WIAA state finals, and I was right there. I was so fortunate, got to watch her run. She came and brought it, man. She came to play, she came to win, and she did it for the missing and murdered Indigenous women, and she raised awareness to that movement far and wide. She ran with her face paint. It was a combination of things happened out there. I was out there shooting. I was able to get an interview with her after the meet, and so I'm going to talk with her. I have some highlights from that. But she was out there, and a buddy of mine, Alex Flett, got out there, and he was shooting stills of her, and he made some amazing imagery. And he was also able to catch Spokane tribal athlete Gabe Kiefer, who was kind enough to kick in his medal towards raising awareness to the missing and murdered Indigenous women. A couple of amazing, strong Native youth that can give us all hope. And the story, it's coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Before we get into that, I got some announcements. I got some powwow announcements coming up. The first one's 164th Treaty Celebration down on the Umatilla Res. This will be Thursday, June 6th. It's going from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Well, if you're going to be in the area, I'm going to recommend checking it out on June 5th through the 9th out in Kalispel, Montana. Herdbull. This is a big one. This is out on the Flathead County Fairgrounds in Kalispel, Montana, and it's dedicated to raising awareness to the missing and murdered Indigenous women's movement. They've actually got a MMIW red dress special. I'm hoping to get out there and to see that. I'm thinking it's going to be Saturday night. Not for sure on that. What I do know is that they've got 32 categories that they're going to be paying out on. They got bull riding, they've got relay racing, they got stick games, and a hand drum contest. Now, this is something that's been in the making for a while. It's their first year, and I'm definitely going to go and check that one out. We also have coming up Treaty Days, 164th Annual Yakama Nations Treaty Day Powwow, and that's out in White Swan. That'll be June 7th, 8th, and 9th. So if you get out there, there's going to be some great dancers, great music, some great contests out there, so you want to check that out too. All right, moving right along, we've got a young Native American woman from the Muckleshoot Tribal School who made a difference, man. She made a statement. She ran in the WIAA state finals in Washington State out of Eastern Washington University, and Alex Flett, Spokane Tribal member, photographer extraordinaire, got some amazing images of her out on the track with her face paint, the MMIW going down her leg. She won 3 out of 4 races. She took gold in those first 3, and the last one that she ran, she took a silver. Man, she came to play. There were reporters. It was covered by this, not only the Spokesman Review, the Yakama Herald, the Seattle Times. I saw today that it ran in Indian Country Today. It came up a couple days ago on my Facebook, or not my Facebook feed. It's all over Facebook. It blew up Facebook, kind of crazy. I think Alex said that on the first day his image was shared like 5,500 times. But I saw it come up on my Yahoo homepage from my email a couple days ago, and then I just noticed yesterday that it came up on Yahoo Sports Australia. So this young lady, this young Native woman warrior, has made a difference. She put herself out there. I got some words of wisdom from her. I was able to interview her right after the track meet. So stick around. We're going to check that out. Really looking forward to seeing her again. She was able to not only raise awareness of that, but unite. The Muckleshoot tribe, the Muckleshoot Tribal School. They went ahead and they took some photographs that Alex took and made an enlargement for Gabe Kiefer, and they gifted that to him along with a 8th generation blanket, one of the Louis Gongs. He got that out. They brought it out. They brought Leah Simeon out, the Muckleshoot Tribal School, the sports director out. She came out and gifted it to him on behalf of the Muckleshoot Tribal School for helping to unite Eastern and Washington State tribes, and for his part that he played in raising awareness of the missing and murdered Indigenous women at the Washington State WIAA state track meet finals at Eastern Washington University. Amazing. I was just honored to be part of it, honored to see it, honored to watch it. She just captivated the crowd. Everybody was wondering why she was doing it, what was going on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyhow, we got that footage coming up here real shortly. Last and not least, Hoop Fest is right around the corner. Again, I'm going to be doing a Hoop Fest special. I'm going to be trying to cover as many Native teams as I can. Last year, I think I heard there was 100 Native teams out on Hoop Fest courts all throughout the streets of downtown Spokane. I'm going to try to make my way around. If you message me or send me your team name, I'll be happy to try and look up your brackets to come by and see how you guys are doing. That's the announcements for this week. Let's get into some of that footage from the Airway powwow out in Inchelium on the Colville Reservation, from the ATNI, from Northern Quest Casino in Spokane with the youth committee chair. And we're going to get into some of the highlights from the Rosalie Fish interview. And again, it's a great day to be Indigenous. And thanks for joining us. Let's get to it.
Well, this last week we just had a camp here in Nespelem, right behind the agency off Joe Moses Road. This is our second camp that we've had last September last year, and this last week, and it was pretty amazing. The kids came in, we worked with the Boys and Girls Club, so they brought the youth in, and we had 2 days with the youth. We had some really great instructors, volunteers who came and shared their skills and wealth of knowledge. So we gathered for a grand total of 5 days. We're have another gathering, which will be in mid-October. And with the next camp, we're going to have the adults teach adults this time. So that's going to be an extra added component, you know. So it's a Skillshare camp, and we'll also be teaching each other, you know, and just incorporating all of the wealth of knowledge that we have with our native culture, traditions, our life skills, but also with permaculture and I guess you'd say herbology, what you could also say ethnobotany, our plant medicines, and you know, a lot of our primal life skills. So, but most of all, it's a place for unity, people of all colors, all nations, all tribes coming together and, you know, just living together, sharing each other's wealth, which is our skills, our food, and just, you know, our knowledge, and bringing that to the children and encouraging them and inspiring them.
Cool. So, what got you going? What inspired you to start doing something like this?
What inspired me was Standing Rock. That's just how we lived. You know, we lived, everybody cohabitively, you know, sharing our knowledge and our wealth of experiences. But even people who dug ditches, you know, who got down to the nitty gritty with labor, you know, and others who were the elders, you know, who guided us with sacred knowledge. We had people come in with, you know, all from around the world and you know, lived hand in hand with each other. But what inspired me at Standing Rock was our traditional foods from here. And when our people donated those to me, it was a taste of medicine, taste of home, and it really touched me, touched my heart. So when I came home, I wanted to learn about our traditional foods and honor them, honor the spirits of our salmon and the deer, because sometimes I see these things being wasted. And within the camp, we're able to start to utilize every portion of the fish, every portion of the deer, as well as the medicine, so nothing goes to waste. And that's really important to share that knowledge with our kids, so they learn to be respectful, you know, of our land and the animals, just like our ancestors once taught us to be. Inland Northwest Native News, like and subscribe today.
Hey, hit it with the life pack, spin the top.
We're going south of the border on this one.
The PowWow this year is really good. We know we had another gathering that was down the road from us here in Washington. That was a little bit bigger, but we were very surprised. We still have about 400 dancers that showed up here this year, And so, the quality of the dancers that we have this year is outstanding. So all of our contests are really top notch. So it was really awesome to see all these people still come here after all of our years that we've been putting it on, and they've been supporting us. So it's really a beautiful feeling to see all these people show up like that. So this is our 9th year. So we've been, our first year we had the PowWow. We have some on the other side of the arbor there. We set up a tent. The arbor wasn't quite ready yet, so we danced in that tent that first year. And as a coordinator for the PowWow, we were really nervous. We didn't know what to expect on our dancers and stuff, but we ended up with about 500 dancers that first year. And then so our first MC was Ruben Littlehead, and we had Hawk Thunderhawk was our first arena director, and and we always traveled the PowWows all over, but we never ran one. So it was a totally different experience on putting on a PowWow, and for it to come out like this, to right away just take off and get bigger and bigger and bigger every year is really.
So this PowWow is like, it's not on the beaten path, man. It's you got to be coming here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're 2 hours away from everything, so to have all these people make their way down here every year is it's really humbling. It's kind of a cool feeling to see people we see on the trail in Wyoming and Southern California, Ontario. We have dancers from a lot of places that come here, and so.
What do you think the draw? Why do you think people come?
It's the feeling. It's the way we created the PowWow was we wanted memorials. We wanted we wanted the community to sponsor all the categories. We wanted to have a heartfelt feeling of ownership for the community. Because a lot of places there's a PowWow or a celebration going on, but it's just a celebration of PowWow. It's not owned like it is the Inchelium. It's owned. The people here actually have a part of the PowWow here because they sponsor the memorials, they sponsor categories, they sponsor out of their own pockets, and so it's really a good feeling for all the dancers to realize when they win those championship coats, it's not just a championship coat. In those pockets, there's a letter that talks about the person at the memorial. And some of them get extra prizes like a beaded belt one year, somebody got a breastplate, and it's just different things that the family give up to the dancers as the memorial for their loved ones that's passed on. So it's just the great feeling, and then so they share it with each other out on a PowWow trail, and then so they all want to experience that, so they come here, and then they get the experience, and they keep coming back.
That's really cool.
So when we first started the PowWow, we wanted to create a PowWow where a memorial to where there wasn't any drugs and alcohol involved in it, because like in the Indian communities nowadays, there's a lot of horseshoe tournaments and pool tournaments and all these things going on, but it has to do with a lot of alcohol and drugs and alcohol with it. And so our feelings were like when you're drunk or you're high, when you're at these memorials, you're breaking down and you're crying and you're really feeling bad about it, but you're not getting closure. Maybe you don't remember you're crying, maybe you don't remember you broke down, and so you don't get a closure. But see, having a PowWow like this, bringing out the names, bringing out the families around, bringing them around that circle, singing them that honor song, letting them be able to hold up the pictures of their loved ones, they get that sense of closure. And then they feel better when they go home because they remember everything, and it's such a powerful feeling to have all these people come around and support you. So that's one of our main things, and we stick with that every year, and it just seems to be working, and everybody wants to feel that. Yeah, Inland Northwest Native News. Like and subscribe. Get it? All right.
It's kind of like urban.
Yeah, it made me stretch my pockets out.
Moving to third place. Third place in the boys is going to go to WIAA Valley. They score 48 points in the boys 2B.
I just want to ask you, well, first of all,
boys 2B.
What motivated you to do this? I mean, this is kind of I hadn't seen anybody doing this. I mean, I first am honored to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
I think your accomplishments with just running today were amazing.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to see what, because you really have to humble yourself to do something like this. And I saw you talking to some other people. So
Correction, let's,
your
bring in El Waco,
your goal of
third
raising
place in the
awareness
boys.
really worked.
Sorry,
I saw
too
lots of
many
people
points here.
reading that.
El Waco,
Let me
34
ask you this
points.
though: what were some of the questions that some of those other reporters were asking you? I mean, I know the story really well as far as the bigger picture stuff. What kind of stuff were they asking you?
They were asking me what my face paint meant. They were asking me what inspired me to run for murdered and missing Indigenous women, and they asked me kind of what that movement meant to me.
So, what motivated you the most to do this? I mean,
Definitely, I don't know if you know her, but Boston Marathon runner Jordan Marie Daniels is a Lakota
All right, now we're
distance
back
runner,
in order.
and
In third place in the
I saw
girls.
her and
Now
I saw that she did
Umatilla
this,
Valley.
and so when I saw that, and I just
48
felt
girls, third
I'd
place.
never seen anybody combine,
Trophy, 2B girls.
activism and running, and when she did that, I was just like, I need to do something like that, and so I messaged her and I asked her if she would be comfortable if I did something similar to what she did, and she was really supportive, and that's kind of when I decided that I needed to do something too.
it was a pretty bold movement. Was there anybody that tried to stop you from doing it?
I actually decided not to tell anybody, so that I didn't have to deal with that. I knew that some people might not be happy. A lot of people tell me that, why don't you keep politics out of running? And I don't think being Native is a political stance, and that's. But I wasn't going to risk this. I wasn't going to risk representing women. I was just going to do it because if I ask permission, that gives them the chance to say no. So I just did. Yeah.
I know it's a really hard subject, really hard topic. You had someone, one of our Spokane Tribal members donated one of his medals. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Gabe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just came over after I was putting my 400-meter medal on for Misty, and he just gave me his, and he said I wanted to donate this, and I got really emotional, just because to kind of see somebody else really care about it, and to see that maybe I did kind of reach out in a way. I felt really honored and humbled when he did that, and I'm really grateful he did. And I cried on him a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you say if I told you that
Move on to the
I think that your ancestors would be proud?
It's also Northwest Christian Lacey. 17 points for the Lady Navigators.
I felt a little heavy at first, just wearing the paint, and I think that was kind of like maybe my ancestors letting me know, like, you need to take this seriously. This is what you're doing. You need to do well, and I think that's why I felt really heavy when I first put on my paint, and when I tried to run with my paint at first. I hope they would. I think a lot of where my strength, I would say my personal strength comes from my grandmas and my mom and my great grandma, and I really hope that's true, that I didn't make them proud.
Cool. That's really cool. Well, I know you made a lot of people smile.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope that a lot of people read this and a lot of people understood what it meant. I mean, they're never going to understand what it means to have known these women and to have had them be part of your lives and their lives. To understand that this is an issue and it's real and it's in Washington.
Well, I've been looking for athletes to highlight on my YouTube channel. I've been looking for Division I athletes in particular, but I don't know that if you're going to go Division I, but holy cow, you're setting records and doing all sorts of really cool stuff. So, but I think more importantly, you're inspiring people.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish I could have been for Division I. I kind of like
But the big hardware is going
I don't think it's
south
really
to
fair for me to say what I'm going to do yet, but
nice job.
I'm definitely going to do everything I can to get there.
So we're out here at Northern Quest Casino with Johnny Buck from the ATNI Youth Committee. He's the committee chair, and we're talking today about There was a resolution that was proposed today at ATNI. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Let me see. So, uh, so we do ATNI Youth Forum. It's 2.5 days. It's basically 8 to 5 p.m. On the Saturday and Sunday prior to the ATNI larger convention with the adult tribal leaders. So on Sunday we do leader and leadership development, and on Saturday it's the STEAM day. So on Sunday, one of our workshops was around activism. So we supported youth to just strengthen their voice around environmental issues that are happening. So we just gave them a space where they could wish for something, and it could be anything, just in the context of their environment. And if they could wish for something that they wanted to change, what would it be? And so essentially they named off a number of things, and we put this together as a social media campaign. So we were going to create a social media storm, and we did that. We supported them in doing that, but it turned into a resolution. So they decided that they wanted to do a resolution also. So we put together a resolution with them, with their lead, and just some of the whereas statements here. I'll just read a few because it's directly from their voice. Let me see. The ATNI and its members want to ensure that we do what we can to protect and preserve the water, land, air, and species for the next generations. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to transition to renewable energies and address climate change to protect their generation. That's from Malaya Stanger, 14, Umatilla. And I'll read off some more. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to protect our people from becoming missing and murdered by investigating and addressing root causes and supporting protectors and detectives in solving existing cases and preventing future cases. That's Warren from Kalispel. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to promote sea turtle health by eliminating the use of plastic straws and providing alternatives in our communities and businesses. That's Nita, 12, Nooksack, and Yakama. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to stand up and stop pipelines throughout communities in the Pacific Northwest. And that's Latis, 15, Umatilla. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to help and end sexism in the United States and create more pathways for women in our own communities to have a voice. That's Siddeley, 13, Yakama. Our ATNI youth are asking for us to become better role models in our parenting. That's Jadine, 14, Yakama. Our ATNI youth are asking us to restore salmon runs back to health for the future. That's Adrian, 12, Kalispel. Our ATNI youth are asking us to stand up and protect our environment so the future generations can experience the fish and animals that we have hunted and caught for generations. That's Bear, 15, Colville. Our ATNI youth are asking us to protect and restore clean drinking water for our communities. That's Allyric, 14, Umatilla. Our ATNI youth are asking us to end drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and to stop the suicide rates going up by promoting prevention, awareness, and understanding. That's Georgie, 14, of Umatilla. Our ATNI youth are asking us to address the 1 million square mile garbage patch in the ocean by doing our part and reducing our use of single-use plastics. That's Tiana, 13, Yakama. Our ATNI youth are asking us to clean up past and present future pollution in our communities. Bryson, 13. Our ATNI youth are asking us to use more biodegradable products to prevent plastic pollution to address the flow of plastics in our ocean. Juliana, 15, Shoshone, Paiute, and Umatilla. Our ATNI youth are asking us to remove dams from the Pacific Northwest rivers to ensure salmon for their generation. Kian Singer, Nez Perce, 15. Our ATNI youth are asking us to restore our culture, songs, languages, natural resources, and traditions. Kian, 15, Nez Perce. Our ATNI youth are asking us to restore our languages and promote everyday language use in our communities, ensure that our languages are passed down to future generations. And, the list goes on. ATNI youth are asking us to eliminate drug abuse in our communities and keep our youth from being exposed to drugs. Protecting our environments with clean water, air, and land so that our people can stay healthy and live long, meaningful lives. Ronnie is Kalispel. our ATNI youth are asking us to help end racism and make the planet a safer and more equitable place for Indigenous youth. Teresa, 14, Kalispel. And therefore, be it resolved, we will do everything in our power to address these issues and stand up for our youth's wishes and future generations. So this was actually part of the presentation that the youth did during the General Assembly, and there's something unique about it being passed on a General Assembly floor, which isn't a normal practice. So it just demonstrates the power of youth voice.
So this was a resolution that was proposed and passed.
It wasn't proposed. They were just reporting out and sharing it. And then Henry Kagi had made a motion to pass this as a resolution on the General Assembly floor, which it essentially ended up being passed on the General Assembly floor.
I see. That's some very powerful words from quite a few different tribes, ages, the big age span. How long have you been doing what you've been doing in your position?
Since 2012, I'm building off of the work that Patsy led with developing the youth committee. So her and Julie Taylor from Umatilla and Joyce McFarland from Nez Perce. They had a roundtable discussion with youth over at the Chinook Winds, and they created a priorities, and they recruited me to help lead and chair the committee. So we started out with one-day event, and it was just an annual event. Now we're doing 2.5-day events 3 times a year. So at every ATNI youth convention or every ATNI convention.
Wow! So this has grown substantially over the last about 7 years since you've been involved.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen anything like the resolution that came today? Have you ever seen anything done like that?
I've never seen anything done like that.
That's powerful, very powerful. When you look back and you look at all your efforts, when you see something like this move forward like that, how does that make you feel?
It's reaffirming to the work and the mission and goals that I set out to do for all the communities of youth that I serve. And I know a large part of the work and the heavy leg work is capacity building, right? And it's strategic and systems thinking of how do we interrupt the status quo and the pattern of having youth demarginalized from leader and leadership positions to demarginalizing them and giving them space to vision, giving them space to speak up and listening to them. And I think over time, it's really beginning to emerge as it should, because we're just giving them space for them to speak up and do what they want. We're giving them blank agendas. We're moving towards youth self-governance, youth self-determination. Those are our big goals. The Umatilla Youth Council, in my opinion, is the most advanced. So I've been able to work with them in depth in their community the most and build their capacity of how they work together. So in 2000, it must have been 12, I was working in their community, training them along with Julie Taylor, their youth councils, and help them get organized. And there was something that came up in the work, so we were working at their headquarters, and I just said, and I heard that their board of trustees or their tribal council was in session in their chambers. So I just finally said, hey, let's ask for a meeting with them. And they're like, oh, I don't know, that's kind of scary. What are we gonna say? And I go, we'll figure it out. You guys are saying it all here. Everything you guys are talking about, share it with them. And they were still afraid. They didn't have the confidence to be able to speak up on their behalf and advocate. So they weren't going to give us a meeting, right? They said it wasn't on their agenda. And then I said, okay, well, let's just stay here and wait outside of the door. because they got to come out.
sometime.
And let's just shake their hands, right? So we ended up doing that, and their executive assistant had communicated with them, and she must have said that we're waiting outside. So after they were done with their work, which we respect, they invited us in. And I advocated strongly on their behalf. And since I speak a dialect close to the Walla Walla language, which is one of their tribal languages, I was speaking to their elders on the importance of the work that I was leading with and doing with the youth, and the sacredness, importance, all in our language that they understood, and then came into English and strongly advocated for demarginalization of youth from leader and leadership space. So essentially, and shortly after that, their youth council got sworn in to their tribal council, so they have youth seats at the table, and just even with that presence, we've seen this large shift just by having a seat at the table. But now they're in the decision making. They're actually speaking up about the decisions that are being made on the reservation, and they're having amazing impact. So, yeah, I think what they're doing at Umatilla is really amazing and an exemplary model of youth leadership.
That's great. Congratulations, man. That's a big step. You know, I think today we a lot of times get used to seeing youth tweeting and texting and gaming and all of these things that we don't necessarily think are productive. And sometimes I think I myself am guilty of thinking that they're not paying attention or that they're not really aware of what's going on around them. But clearly they are. Clearly there's a good strong group of kids that are out there that are concerned, and that to me is really inspiring. So it was I think leaps and bounds is I think it's headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah, thanks. And I just want to add one thing about the STEAM activities too, and the emergent partnership that we have with NASA. So we added one day, that Saturday. It's a full day of STEAM activities, and this whole STEAM thing is growing. I mean, we have the curriculum that we presented this Saturday, but when we think of STEAM, if science, technology, engineering, art, and math, really that encompasses everything about natives. It's just that one S, science, native science. Native science is culture, traditions, right? The way we see the world, the way we interact with the world, the relationship we have with other living organisms. That is all native science, right? So STEAM actually encompasses everything of who we are. So what I see and envision is, and since there's a lot of money in STEAM too, but it's going to grow. I mean, we're starting small, but the potential for this type of work and engaging with the STEAM context is really huge.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And I look forward to hearing more about the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for your leadership.